Hi there folks, I'm Gene of RPG, and welcome back to more Valkyrie Profile. After the pretty lengthy beginning part of the game, we can actually get into things a little bit proper. Still technically in tutorial, but this is going to be the much more interactive tutorial. We have to go to our first dungeon, the Artolian mountain ruins. The Artolian ruins lie in the northern hills. The massive stoneworks have eroded over the years, and their hulking forms peer eerily out from a deep blanket of fog. A bonfire now burns there, and eerie screaming can be heard each night. Oh, lovely. I sense an enemy. Yes, there's one. An undead. Well, there's way more than one. Lenneth, are you ready? I can accompany you through this ruin, but when you leave this place, I must return to Asgard. Yes. Look at this, Lenneth. That is the memory camp. Save point. Tools can be created in a dungeon only in memory camp. I will get into that stuff. It won't be this part, it'll be the next, well, maybe the next part. But the point is, we're not going to get into creating items right now. We don't need to worry about that. Having mercy on the undead is useless enough. Enough, let's go. But yes, if you want to make stuff while you're in a dungeon, you have to do it at the save point. Otherwise, it's exactly what you think it is. It's a save point. You can save here. You can also load here, although I forget if you can load from anywhere. Anyway, we don't need to save. What we do want to do, though, is go to Freya, and you actually want to go to remove and take her weapon off, even though her attack power drops by 300, which seems like a lot. She's actually going to be hitting way harder if you do take it off, because she does a completely different attack. Just trust me on this. You're going to want to take it off. Then again, it doesn't really matter. She's your crutch for this dungeon. You're not going to lose in this dungeon. To fight the enemy, face your enemy and brandish a sword. Any contact means a fight, but you never know who will be first. And so, yes, when you're running around, you press the X button to swing the sword. If you hit an enemy with the sword, well, then you get the first move. Let's see if we can find an enemy. There's one walking around. You swing the sword, boom. That guarantees that you get to go first.
To my side, my noble Enherjiar. Uh-oh, we may be in trouble.
Okay, so here is how battles actually work. You'll notice in the top right, underneath where it says one turn, you see the triangle, the square, the X, and the circle, the PlayStation face buttons. Next to them, you see a 1. Each character in that same order is tied to a specific button. So, for instance, let's actually not use Freya. I was going to say let's use Freya, but we don't want to use her for this. Let's use Lenneth as an example. She is tied to the square button. So when you press square, she does her attack. She can do the same number of attacks in one turn that she has available, which for right now is only 1. Same for Ongrim, as you can see. And then, of course, Freya and Jalonda. Jalonda is a sorcerer. She uses magic. You can press the select button and go into the menu, and in addition to doing a whole bunch of things, actually, which I'll get into at a later time. We don't need to worry about those, but you can go over to select magic. When you do that, you can select magic from her list, such as heal, which will heal the entire party's HP by 80% of their max, which is very nice, or Firestorm to hit multiple enemies. I'll get into that later. However, she has Firestorm set to her circle button, so when you press circle with her, she'll use Firestorm, but it is only single target. when it's tied to the circle button. Hopefully I'm not going too fast for you. When we get into a fight with more than one enemy, I'll demonstrate what I mean. But like any RPG, well, I shouldn't say that because I'm sure there's exceptions. You defeat enemies, you get EXP. Huh. Well, we can't get through here because the iron bars are shut tightly, even though Freya can do that teleport thingy. So, we'll have to come back to there later. Let's check out this room. Let's check out the contents of that bag. It's possible that there could be something usable inside. To open treasure chests, you have to be facing the treasure chest, and then you have to hold the down button and press the X button. Bags count as chests, if that wasn't clear enough.
To my side, my noble Enherjiar.
Alright, but here we go. Here's a good example for magic.
These beasts will be a good test.
If we just press the circle button with Jalonda, she uses Firestorm, but it only hits the one enemy. Now, we actually have to wait until her charge time is passed, so we're going to select wait. I'll get more into charge time further into the dungeon. Don't worry, I'm trying to get the very basics explained, because the battle system's actually not that complex. But now that the charge time is back down, we could either press circle again and have her use another Firestorm, but if we go into the menu and select Firestorm with Jalonda, she will actually use it, and that will hit both enemies for the same amount of damage. And so knowing when to use magic against a group and when not to is going to be pretty critical for getting through the game. For right now, it honestly doesn't matter because we have Freya, but Freya's not going to be around forever. She's only going to be here for this dungeon.
Get thee hence. Oblivion awaits thee.
An Eye of Heaven. That's a special item that when you use it, it'll show a silhouette of the entire dungeon. So, or rather, of the map. So when you press the shoulder button on the PSP, because yes, this is on the PSP, you bring up the map. If you use an Eye of Heaven, though, let's go ahead and use that. And then you open up the map. As you can see blue... I'm saying see a lot. But you can see blue squares, which are various rooms and whatnot of the dungeon. There's only a couple of dungeons that I'll even be using Eye of Heavens on, because we don't... well, I shouldn't say we, but I don't really need them. Oops, forgot to swing. So, when you don't swing, there's a chance you'll get to go first, or the enemy will get to go first. It's a little bit random. You never know. That's why you should always try to hit enemies and hit enemies with the sword. But let's go ahead and just breeze through this. Here we go, though. When you fill up the energy gauge to 100, you can do special attacks.
It shall be engraved upon your soul. Divine Assault. Nibalang Balesti. You have no hope of survival.
Special attacks vary from character to character, with the exception of mages like Jalonda, but I'll get into that another time. We don't need to worry about that right now. To be able to reach special attacks, though, you need to fill up the energy gauge, which I'll get into, don't worry. But let's go ahead and check what's in here. Ah, we found the Iron Barred Key. Alright, so now we can open up that door. You're going to find key items throughout dungeons that you're going to need to be able to get through certain pathways, things like that. This game is a bit of an interesting genre, in my opinion. It is turn-based RPG / platformer. Lenneth, I think you can use that key here. Please take a look at those bars. Yes, and you can investigate the bars. So, we go up to the door, press the X button, and there we go. Get used to having to use items a lot. Well, by that I mean key items. When there are different levels, such as ladders and stairs, you can climb down or leap down. Leaping is a handy way to move quickly. So yes, you can climb ladders, or you can drop down off of ladders, or you can jump up ladders, which is something that I'll demonstrate a lot in the playthrough.
To my side, my noble Enherjiar. These beasts will be a good test.
Now, in case you're worried about me showing every single fight, don't. That's only going to be for this dungeon, and that's just because of all the tutorial-y stuff that I need to talk about. Funny enough, the thing that I was expecting to talk about in this fight didn't actually happen, so...
Get thee hence.
Oh well.
Oblivion awaits thee.
Alright, but let's keep moving. We won't be able to get up there by jumping. Let's build some crystals into the wall and use them for footholds. So yeah, in addition to being able to swing your sword and jump, you can press the square button to launch crystals. You can have up to 3 out at once, but then as soon as you go to make another one, the first one that you made will disappear. Also, if you jump on them multiple times, they will eventually crack into pieces of crystal. So, yeah. That's another thing that you're going to want to get used to. There's a little more you can do with crystals, such as this. If you shoot crystals at the enemy, you can contain their movements for a period of time. But that's something that we're pretty much never going to use because there's no reason to. See, like, you can do that, and now it's frozen in place, but there's, like, absolutely no reason to do that. So, don't worry about that.
To my side, my noble Enherjiar.
I think this will be a good battle for this.
Will be a good test.
Well, actually, I don't even need to go into that. Okay, so, if you look down at the bottom where the characters' names and their HP bars are, and of course I'm zooming in on this for you guys, you will see that beneath the number there is a little tiny thing that says CT, and then to the left of that is a red blinking digit on that bar. That is your charge time. If you look up at the top where the button presses are, Jalonda can't actually use any magic this turn. She's not able to use her magic this turn because her charge time is not set to 0. Think of it like a cooldown timer. This also affects your special attacks because as long as characters have that, they're not going to be able to do their special attacks. They can do regular attacks, but because Jalonda's a mage, she uses magic, that doesn't work. But now, as you can see, the charge time is gone. It goes down by 1 point every single turn. There's other ways to restore it as well that I'm not sure we'll see in this dungeon, now that I've mentioned it. Although we've actually already seen it. But, yeah, we'll see it in the playthrough, don't you worry.
Get thee hence. Oblivion awaits thee.
But yeah, you're going to want to keep an eye on your cooldown charge timer. Right here is a vegetable seed. That is a transmutable item. I'll get into that at another point. We don't need to worry about that right now. Well, shoot. We can't go through that way, so we gotta turn around.
To my side, my noble Enherjiar. Uh-oh, we may be in trouble.
Alright, so I think this is a good enemy to show off special attacks and the energy gauge. So, what you should do is watch the energy gauge while I'm doing this. That is that green bar over there on the left. As you can see, when it reaches 100, that's when you can enter the special attack phase. What's more, if you do special attacks to where you further increase it to 100, then you can continue the chain.
I love a good fight.
So like Ongrim was able to get it up to 100 after doing his special attack, which allows us to then use a second special attack. You can do this up to 4 times, but certain characters' special attacks are not exactly great for filling up the meter. Like Freya's here, for instance, only adds 10 to energy.
Feed on thy flesh.
They were no match for us.
Chaining together special attacks is really important, but using a special attack does drastically increase your charge time. Which means that it'll be that much longer before you can do another one.
To my side, my noble Enherjiar.
As we keep going, and I think I may have just mentioned this, I don't know. My mind's going a million miles a minute because there's a lot to explain. But as we get further and further through the game, managing your charge time and when you do your special attacks is going to be important. Right there, you saw it very briefly. In fact, let's get a rewind on it real quick. That little red gem, red and blue blinking gem that flew into Jalonda, I think they're called fire gems, if I remember correctly. Each one of those that flies into a character reduces that character's charge time counter by 1 digit. And so eventually it's going to get to where we can get a lot of them to come out of enemies at a time, and well, we'll be able to keep using special attacks and magic turn after turn as a result.
Easy work for
But right now that's a little hard to do. There are 2 other types of things that can come out of enemies that we will be seeing. I don't know about in this dungeon, but we'll see them throughout the game. Don't you worry.
No mercy.
Alright, so in this case, there are 3 enemies, and, well, we definitely want to use Firestorm on all 3 of them. Hey, another fire gem! Which is going to fly into Jalonda if you watch. And then that happened. Which reduced her charge time by 1, and so she can use Firestorm on the group again. Which is good, because these are actually really tough enemies. In fact, I think they're the most difficult regular enemies in here. Alright, but now there's only 1, so we can just use the circle button for this.
One day I must face Brahms.
Let's keep moving, though. Alright, we're going to want to get over to the right, because those enemies like to fall on you.
To my side, my noble Enherjiar. Uh-oh, we may be in trouble.
So I should probably mention, dungeons do not have random encounters. They also do not have their encounters respawn. So once you take care of one of these enemy groups, they stay gone from the dungeon until you leave the dungeon and come back.
Uh-oh, we may be in trouble.
So that's nice. I like that, actually. I'm doing this in a very unorganized way. We briefly saw it. Very briefly, but there was a magic crystal that dropped. They are the blue things that actually look like crystals. magic gems, sorry. Those increase how much EXP you get from a battle. So as you can see, normally we would have gotten 234 because we found a magic gem, or rather knocked one out of an enemy, we get 245. These are super helpful for leveling up characters, which, speaking of leveling up characters, we did gain levels. Lenneth, Ongrim, and Jalonda gained levels. Okay, so for Jalonda, let's get into this. First things first, when you level up, not only do your stats increase a little bit, including your HP, or DME as it's called in this game, you gain capacity points. Capacity points can be used to learn skills, such as first aid here, or status skills, which I'll get into these later. We don't need to worry about these yet. But these do have important effects. One of the most notable ones immediately is survival, which increases how much DME, which is HP, by 200 for each point that you put into it. You see the level that you have in the skill, which is where the 0 is, and how many capacity points it takes to increase it by a level. Very important to remember. However, for Enherjiar, there's also the traits window, which this also costs CP to increase. And, well, for your Enherjiar, you're going to want to, probably first thing you do is spend points in getting these maxed out. Because, as you can see, the character's hero value is increasing. And so now, Jalonda's hero value is now 0. Lenneth does not have these traits because, well, they're human traits. She's a god. She doesn't have them. Ongrim does. However, Ongrim, well, I'll get into this later, but don't waste any points into these for Ongrim. There is no reason to do that. Instead, for Ongrim, let's give him first aid. We'll go ahead and get it to level 5. So, when you have a skill that you can actually equip, you go to setup, and then you can go to set, and this is an A rank, or an A type skill, reaction skill. We can go ahead and put first aid there. And so now, every now and then, when an ally gets hurt, Ongrim will do first aid, heal them a little bit. We're going to hold off on putting anything in Lenneth's skills, because I don't think she needs it yet. So, here's one trick you can do with crystals that you're going to want to get used to, because you're going to be doing this kind of thing a lot. But the big reason you want to do that is because up here are treasure chests. We got a nightshade. That is another transmute item. I'll talk about those later. A quartz gem. Quartz gem, in addition to being able to be transmuted, also increases a character's CP by 20. Might actually be useful and important to hold on to. For now, we're not going to use it. Savory, that is another transmutable item. Alright, this kind of chest. You'll note it looks fancier than these ones. That's because this kind typically have traps. We'll learn more about traps soon because the game is going to give us a tutorial about them. But yeah, inside of this one you can find an Angel Curio. The Angel Curio is an accessory, or a decoration technically, and, well, it will automatically revive a character if they get knocked out in battle. It has a 30% chance of breaking, which means it's going to more than likely break. I'm not going to equip it, but it's important to note because, well, it's our first one of those kind of items. Alright, but we are done here. Let's get out of this room. Now let's head to the right. Is there anything down here? Spikes, of course. Oh, I missed the ride. Damn it. Come on. Ow. And then I fell off. Jeez. Yeah, the good news is spikes and things like that are not instant kill. They just do a little bit of damage. Alright. But we need to ride this floating boat. Watch out for the trap. However, you definitely want to get this chest because inside of it is an elemental scepter. Or an elemental? Element? Whatever. This is a special staff. First off, it's 300 attack power as opposed to the ruby mace, which is the staff Jalonda has right now, which is only 120. So there's that. However, it allows the wielder to perform great magic. Great magic is super renditions of special attack magic, which is really, really, really good. However, you'll note it has a 50% chance of breaking. That chance of breaking for staves is only when you do great magic, which, as long as you don't do great magic, that staff's never going to break. So effectively, for the time being, Jalonda has 300 plus magic power. Oh, I almost made it. Wait, boat, don't leave without me. Thank you. But yes, now Jalonda's magic is notably higher, and, well, that's good, because that's going to speed up the random battles. Not that they're going terribly slow.
To my side, my noble Enherjiar.
But here's a perfect example. Normally this was taking us, what, 2 firestorms to kill? Pretty sure this is going to one-shot these. No, not quite. Ha! Just had to show me wrong. However, we can now kill them in one turn, assuming they don't block or avoid anything.
No matter how many are defeated, more appear.
Oh, that's not true.
To my side, my noble Enherjiar.
This won't be easy.
Oh, those are the ones I'm thinking of. But yeah, it's a nice trick to know about the elemental scepters, is that, yeah, they won't break unless you do the mage's special attack. Foxglove, that is another transmute item. Inside of this chest, though, is Fire Lance. This is the Book of Spells, or rather a spell book. Book of Spells? Yes, it's a book written about research done on certain magic spells. You can learn new spells by reading this book. In this world, there are many books to be found where ways of fighting and other things are described, in addition to books about magic. From these writings, you can acquire knowledge on many matters that you could not have obtained otherwise from experiences on the battlefront. Magic and skills are acquired when you use certain items. A skill is a single item that can be acquired by anyone. Magic, however, is a single item that can be acquired by one person only. I'll get more into skills when we actually get a hold of some skill books. Right now, all we have is Fire Lance, which Fire Lance is, well, the second fire spell in this game. So the way mages work in this game is that they don't naturally learn new spells. They have the spells they come with, and then you have to use magic books on them. So, for instance, if I wouldn't have used Fire Lance on Jalonda, she would only have Firestorm and Heal for basically ever. However, because I used Fire Lance, she now has Fire Lance in her repertoire. However, because you can only have one spell set to your circle button, this means that you can't just press circle and have it kick out Fire Lance unless you set it to that. For now, it's just going to kick out Firestorm. So what we want to do is we want to select Fire Lance. It'll be green. That's how you know that when you press circle with Jalonda, she's going to use Fire Lance. And you're definitely going to want to do that because Fire Lance is about twice as powerful as Firestorm. But Fire Lance will only ever hit one enemy. even if you select it from the menu, whereas Firestorm is normally a group spell. And that is the trade-off. Also, for the record, those are the only 2 fire spells in the game. There are only two spells of each type of element in this game. And so, fire's like the weakest element in the game, technically. Well, okay, that's not entirely true. Technically, there is a weaker element. But, we'll get to that some other time. Because it ain't gonna be anytime soon.
To my side, my noble Enherjiar. These beasts will be a good test.
But, yeah, let's use Fire Lance. As you can see, that just did 600 damage to that thing. However, I believe Fire Lance has a longer charge time than Firestorm does. Yeah, see, like, we got some fire gems, or crystals, or whatever they're called, and Jalonda still doesn't have enough charge time taken off to where she can do it a second time. And it's going to be like that. The better the spell, the longer the charge time. Usually. There is at least one spell I can think of that there's a major exception to. But we won't be seeing that for a while. Alright, that bottom gorilla thing is almost dead. Let's go ahead and use Firestorm. That way we did damage to the top one and we killed the bottom one. And there we go.
Well done, everyone!
I think we can topple this pillar. Lenneth, go ahead and try. Okay. So occasionally you have to do things like this, like attacking this pillar. And when you do things like that, you get event EXP. You can also gain experience points from special actions that do not occur in the course of battle. Those experience points can be saved up in the experience orb and be freely given out to any of the heroes. Yes, I'll go into the experience orb later. We don't need to worry about that right now. But you will get EXP by fulfilling certain events. Alright, so once again, we can't actually get out of here. So, you've already seen it. You can make crystals on the ground and use those to jump up and gain a little bit of height. See that treasure chest? Can you take it? A trap has been set on that treasure chest. There are 3 main types of traps. There are different ways to avoid different types of traps. You can jump, crouch down, or leave, but which one is the best here? For the time being, I recommend leaving as quick as possible. Actually, just running away from the chest will save you from, I think, almost every trap in the game, but... Well, actually, that's not true, I guess. There are arrows that can fire out of chests, and running away won't get you free of those. You have to jump. Ah, but you see, first aid went off and it healed a teeny tiny bit. When it goes off as random, the higher the skill level, the higher the chances of it going off, of course. But, yeah, it's a nice little skill. It's not going to stick around, though.
You have served me well, my Enherjiar.
Alright, but let's get these trapped chests. Book of Everlasting Life! Okay, so that is actually not a skill book. you can't actually use it for anything. So, other than holding on to for later, because there's a lot you can do with transmuting, and I'll get to that when we get to it. But yeah, that chest explodes, so all you do is run away and you get a vegetable seed. Once again, a transmuting item. I'll talk about them later, when it actually matters. Right now, it doesn't. Alright, but because we destroyed that support pillar, we can now get across right here where this pillar was blocking us. You will probably be tempted to just immediately go down to the lower level. However, there is treasure up here. In fact, there's probably the most useful treasure in this dungeon. Not the vegetable seed. Oh no, I accidentally... Ah, darn it. I did the wrong kind of jump. Haha, I did it! All I had to do was make a little bit of a crystal there. Anyway. No! Okay, but as I remembered after I cut, all you have to do is make a crystal here, and then you have a much easier time getting over. I say as I miss. Anyway, I'll see you guys when I actually get back over there again. There we go. Okay, so this chest that took me way too long to get because I'm recording myself contains the treasure search. The treasure search is a possession, technically, which goes down here at the very bottom of the equipment screen that only Lenneth can equip. And what it does is that it'll tell you, it'll give you a visual cue if there's any treasure chests in a room that you're in any dungeon. This is one of the most useful items in the game because, well, there's a lot of hidden chests in the game. And so being able to have something that'll just tell you when they're there is pretty great.
To my side, my noble Enherjiar.
No quarter.
And I want to say that's one of the only, maybe the only place you can actually get one. Then again, I might be misremembering on that because, I mean, I know it's there. And you only need one. It doesn't ever go away unless you get rid of it, so...
They were no match for us.
But let's go ahead and hop up here, away from that guy for a second, because I don't want to get jumped. Drop down, and take him on.
To my side, my noble Enherjiar.
This won't be easy.
Yeah, after this dungeon, I will be cutting out battles with formations that we've already seen. Specifically formations.
One day I must face Brahms.
So the dungeons are going to go a lot faster.
To my side, my noble Enherjiar. These beasts are an offense to me.
Although, as it stands, we're actually almost done here.
No matter how many are defeated, more appear.
But you hop down here, and we can get to some more treasure. Run away from the explosion, and get a lapis lazuli. Okay, so the lapis lazuli increases MP by 200. MP is not magic points, it is materialized points, which I'll talk about later, because you can't do a whole lot with them right now, at least nothing worthwhile. But yeah, we'll get to them later. So, something that I guess the game hasn't actually told us yet, you can slide in this game. You hold down and press the circle button, the jump button, and yeah, you can slide. Very much like Mega Man, and you're going to need to do that occasionally. Not a lot, but enough. Alright, but here we are, the save point right before the boss. That said, I don't need to save. Here they come. Why do you disturb me? Bleh. It is my task to hunt those creatures who prey upon the living. Abomination. You have no place in this world. Hunt, you say? You amuse me. Very well, then. Let us see if you have the strength to match your boastful words. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I will not participate in the battle, Lenneth. Let me witness your power. Use this sword. It will allow you to do a triple combo attack. We borrowed. The key word there is borrowed. We don't get to keep this.
Come to me, Dark Warriors. Battle awaits us.
Dragon Servants. They're masters of defense. We'll have to break through their guard with combination attacks. Alright, so guard crushing. When you do a combination attack, there is a chance of breaking through an enemy's guard. It's not guaranteed, but for instance, I'm pretty sure we'll get to see. Like that, we broke through their guard, and then we can follow up and hit them. Because of the sword that we're borrowing from Freya, because she's holding out on us, Lenneth is able to do a triple attack, which is great. As you can see up where the square button is, there's the number 3, and that bar is slightly bigger now instead of the standard 1 that we've been seeing. Really important to know. Also important to know, typically when you break an enemy's guard, they enter the faint status. When that happens, they spend a turn unable to do anything, which also means they're free to hit. Now, I actually don't want to use Jalonda's CT to finish off that Dragon Servant. No, instead I want to use, I guess, these two. I thought Angrim was going to kill it, but oh well. No, instead I want to save it for the boss, the Elder Vampire. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into typical battle strategies. You almost always want to lead off with a mage doing their attack, because mages are able to pierce through guards.
The time of exorcism is at hand! Then the serpents unleash thy dark flames! Calamity blast! You still live?
And that was great magic. You may have heard that crushing sound, and that is the sound of Jalonda's wand breaking, which now means she technically has no weapon equipped, so she's not going to do anything for damage. I'll get more heavily into great magic later, because I don't want to go into it right now, and this part's already going on long enough. But let's go ahead and finish this boss off.
No matter how many are defeated, more appear!
Typically, I would not recommend using Jalonda's great magic with an element scepter equipped. After you finish most dungeons, there will be a small handful of chests here. These chests contain artifacts, which all artifacts in the game are the rightful property of Odin. And so if you decide to keep them, your evaluation will drop by 5. Your evaluation is down there at the bottom where it says eval. Right now we're at 95. It can't go up past 100. And if it goes down to 0, well, then you get the bad ending of the game. So the game becomes a little bit of a case of juggling what artifacts to keep, what artifacts not to keep. If you select to send an artifact up to Odin instead of hold on to it, your evaluation will increase by 1, but you will not be able to keep the artifact. Regardless of if you want to keep the sealed box or not, you definitely want to keep this sword. Because this sword is really important for reasons I'll explain later. And with that, we're actually done with the dungeon. So folks, when you do this, you have to, or once you finish a dungeon, you actually have to go out of your way and backtrack out of it. And so I'll see you at the beginning part of the dungeon in this case because, well, there's still a little bit more to talk about. We shall not meet for some time. Just a moment. When the Enherjiar have been trained, they are sent to Asgard. At that point, you will have finished the first cycle of your appointed tasks. I understand. The time you are allotted is not limitless, Lenneth. Just as time passes on the earth below, time in Asgard also grinds steadily onward. At set intervals, I will undertake to inform you of events taking place in Asgard. Thank you, I understand. Game time is stored as chapters and periods. Periods are the time spent in towns or dungeons. The chapter is over after the passage of a set number of periods, after which there will be a report from Freya. We'll get to that at the end of the chapter. The game is composed of 8 chapters. The final battle, Ragnarok, will commence when there are no more periods remaining until the end of the world. So be forewarned. I have one more word for you. That warrior, I don't think he's suited to become a hero. You mean Ongrim? Yes. Of course, he has brawn enough, but does he have what it takes inside? The stuff that makes up an Enherjiar is much more than strength alone. Good luck. Taking leave of the Enherjiar is but a temporary measure. Oh, and Lenneth, if you don't understand the plan for the training of the Enherjiar, or for the battle, then ask him/her your questions. Well then, we will meet at Ragnarok. Well, actually, we're going to meet way before that. But yes, if there's anything in this dungeon that you did not understand, you can talk to this fairy thing. And that fairy will tell you various things, such as what to expect when you send an Enherjiar, blah blah blah, as well as everything we've learned inside of this place. But yes, Ongrim is considered to not be suited to go to, well, Valhalla to be an Enherjiar, which means you cannot actually even send him. But folks, this part's gone on longer than I actually thought it would. But that's because, well, we learned all the basics. To get out of here, you gotta make a crystal thing and climb on out. And so, folks, next time on Valkyrie Profile, we're gonna start things pretty proper. Pretty proper. We're gonna properly start things because we now have pretty much freedom to do whatever we want until the end of the world. I'm Gene of RPG, and I'll see you guys next time.